Hello and welcome to show number 8 of At the Picnics. And we're still here, Danny. We're still going. We're still getting great reviews.
We
How,
are,
how,
evidently. I don't read them, so I don't really know, but we'll go with that.
and Danny's got her hair done, looking absolutely beautiful as always. How are you,
You're
Danny?
not supposed to gob me in for those sorts of things.
Now, uh, we've got an absolute legend on the show this week. Very, very, very honoured to have the wonderful ex-jockey and current trainer, Reg Manning. How are you today, Reg?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely a pleasure to have you on. And when I sort of officially met you, seen you around, I officially met you last Saturday at Woolamai and asked you to come on. You sort of said you don't want to have me on, and I thought, no, we do, because I'm sure you've got some wonderful stories to tell us. We'll get to that shortly. We'll just quickly talk about last weekend's racing. We had Saturday at Woolamai where Dylan Dean rode a double. Congratulations to him. And then Balnarring on Sunday, we had Jack Vigona who rode a double, and also Lee Taylor who rode a double. So congratulations to them. Coming up this week, we have the Yay Cup on a Saturday, and then coming up Australia Day, which is next Thursday, we have the Balnarring Cup, and there's always a massive crowd there at Balnarring on that day. So I would say at probably both tracks, get in fast to get your tickets because they could easily get sold out.
It'll be a great couple of days racing. The weather looks like it should be pretty nice to us. So Melbourne's 40 degrees one day, 20 the next with rain. Is hopefully we find somewhere in the middle for those 2 days racing, because it should be a bumper effort for both clubs. And they normally get really, really good crowds for both events. So it should be really good.
And Saturday at Woolamai, even under the trees there, it got a bit hot, but it was a wonderful day. The track looked like it was in superb condition.
Track raced beautifully. They've always got a nice grass cover there, so it helps with the cushioning of the horses, for the horses. So that was really good. Yeah, and evidently even under the umbrellas with a couple of beers in the hands, the patrons handled the day very well. It was very, very entertaining and a really, really bumper and great day's racing. And Reggie came out with a ripping day, and so did Dylan Dean. So it was a great effort there from those guys.
Hello,
they
hello
had a
Zoe.
ripping time. Yeah, my helpers just turned up.
And yes, congratulations to Reggie. You did have a good day, even though one of his horses beat mine. But that's all right, Reggie. We won't hold that against you. We'll just quickly talk about that race. It was race 5 at Woolamai. They ran 11 seconds outside the track record. I could have run faster. So
in patches, I reckon even I could have run faster. They absolutely got away with murder out in front.
They did. It didn't suit my mare.
But that's racing.
It is. And Cheeky Prince got up for Reg, so congratulations, Reg.
Thank you.
And
Reggie, could you have scripted that any better?
Actually, it didn't really suit my fella either, because he hasn't got a sprint on him. He's only a slow plotter. I was actually thinking, oh, we're going to get left behind when they sprint, but they got it rolling early enough that he was able to keep going and maintain his run. But yeah, watching it unfold, I was thinking, oh, we're going to get left behind when they take off. But luckily, they got rolling. They sort of put when Sean got going, they all sort of started to kick up a bit. Then he got going coming up the hill, and I thought, well, yeah, I still thought we'd left our run a little bit late, but anyway, Dylan got it right, so I can't complain.
He did. No, finally, one of your riders got the goods up for you. So They listened to the instructions and they got up on the line.
Yeah, well, there was no instructions, so that was easy.
Well, they were going that slow that halfway through the race, I thought I'll jump in the car and go up to Bass McDonald's and get myself a cheeseburger, come back, and they might have finished by then. And how was the track at Balnarring, Danny? Because there was a little bit of conjecture beforehand that they'd lifted it up a bit to air it out.
Controversy that had been going on in the background and the background noise that had been leading into it, I've got to say the track raced really well. There was a good grass cover on it. Yes, there were a couple of patchy bits, but it raced well. And for a course that it had been so rain affected earlier on in the season, its recovery's been good. And look, I can't complain. I don't know that anyone else really made any complaints on the day about it. I think it was pretty good and pretty fair day's racing, even if my luck was up Pooh Creek without a paddle.
Absolutely. Now, you've got 3 rides coming up this Saturday, Danny, at Yea, so good luck with that. Do you have a ride in the Cup?
Thank you. No, I don't actually. So I've got Gordy's put me on in the 1300, I reckon it is. His horse ran a good race at Mansfield without much luck. I seem to be having traffic issues this year. Then Mick Binney, I'm riding for him, and I've picked up one in the 1350 metre maiden called Tall Boy, courtesy of Tash Baxter. She kicked up for me, so yeah, it's that was a bit fortunate. So it'll be a good day out. Yay Cup's always a great crowd, bumper crowd. They have great food, great wine, great beers. So anyone who's out in that area, get along to it. Picnic Bet will be there. Well, on the internet anyway, and they've obviously bought us this program. So yeah, it'll be a great day's racing, and it doesn't look like it's going to get too hot.
No, the weather looks great the next week, so at both those meetings. And Reg, how many have you got in on Saturday at Yea, and have you got one in the Cup?
Yeah, we've got 5 in. Got 2 in the Cup. I was going to run 3, but I've swapped Cheeky Prince out back to the mile. He'll step up probably 2,000 at Belnowring on the 26th. Yep.
Fantastic. So, Danny, I'm sure you've got lots of questions to ask. I'm going to call him Sir Reg. Go for it.
Okay, so look, Reggie, a lot of people know you as a horse trainer, but truth be known, you've been riding at the picnics for quite a bit of a stint. And
since 77.
Yeah, I wasn't going to dob you in for that, but you can do it freely. And of course, your dad trained, so that's sort of a little bit of a background into your racing longevity. What else can you tell us? You're obviously based up in Gippsland at Sale.
Yeah, we've been farming all our life as well. We had a dairy farm. We've stopped milking a couple of decades or a decade ago. Just play around with a few horses now. I'm retired from work. Worked in the oil and gas field industry. But yeah, just always had horses. I'm the 3rd, 4th generation in our family to be training. Grandfather on both sides trained, on mum's side and dad's side. Mum on dad's side, my grandfather and that, and great uncle, they trained a Melbourne Cup winner between them before I was born.
Was that?
Colonus in 1942. Yeah,
Ripper.
Yeah, so we've got a Melbourne Cup photo on the wall. It's with our name. So yeah, very good. A couple of Moonee Valley Cups as well back then. So yeah, we let the team down. We've let the team down since pretty well, but I'm pretty sure they won't have the Omeo, Swiss Creeks and Buchan Cups. So that's
Dare I ask how many of those you've won?
Ridden, I've ridden 17 Omeo Cups and 17 Swiss Creek Cups, about the same at Buchan. In the last 40 years, I've either ridden or owned and trained 27 out of the last 40 at Swiss Creek.
Wow.
and Hinnamungy. Yep.
That is an absolutely outstanding record to have.
Yeah.
So I know you're a glutton for punishment. So along with being a dairy farmer and working on the land and in the gas and all the rest of it, so you love a hard day's work. You're also on the committee up the hills at most of the clubs too, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, on the committee, a life member as well. So, yep.
I was going to say, Danny, we need at these racetracks, we need to get a statue of Reg out the front. What do you reckon?
I reckon Bart Cummings has got one, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Reggie's record's going pretty all right there.
Yeah, but people would probably only throw stones at it though.
So does any one of those particularly stand out, or any one of those horses that you rode in those cups particularly bring back some fond memories for you?
Oh, look, they possibly all do. Every horse that ever wins any of the high country cups for me, they're all either buried here or still here. They never leave the property. we must have had about eight of them, I think, at one stage in retirement here, but they've all gone on and passed on. Poor old fellow, most of them. Still got old Shanghai Rooster, and unfortunately we lost poor old Guadalcanal on the 5th of February a few years back.
That
But
was
anyway,
pretty tragic. I remember hearing about that. That was horrible.
yeah, still get a tear when I think about that one. But he was a grand old boy. That was the last winner. I rode at Healesville. He still holds a track record at Healesville, Guadalcanal, so pretty proud of it. A lot of my horses still hold the track records at Omeo and Healesville, Druin. Pretty proud of that, Swiss Creek. So yeah, you sort of hold that pretty dearly. It's but yeah, nearly all those horses, the good old horses, won the cups. And I won professional races with them at Corinthians and stuff when they were, like when we used to ride against the pros and stuff. They install and old Prosecutor, I won three cups on him at Omeo and Swiss Creek. I won a Corinthian at Bairnsdale. I only had the one. I won that one. When they first moved to the new racetrack at Bairnsdale back in the 80s or 70s. But he was a grand old boy, and Jingo. So River Jest, I won probably I think 16 out of 40 on him. He won a Corinthian at Stall and a heap of placings up there. He was a grand old boy. No other player. You probably remember him. He was a grand old fella. Yeah, he won. I don't know how many he won for me, but yeah, he won four over. Yeah, he won 4 over the weekend, that long weekend when we raced Saturday, Monday up in the hills. He won the 2,000 metre cup. Broke the track record.
Won the cup, broke the record, and then backed up and won again on the Monday.
No, he won the sprint the same day. On the Saturday, he won the 2,000 metre race, broke the track record, won the 1,200 metre sprint later in the day. And then on the Monday, he won the cup over 1,600 at Swiss Creek and broke the 1,000 metre track record, which he still holds. As well on the same day. So I'm 4 in 4 days. Yeah. In 3 days, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a massive effort.
Yeah, and then he went to we backed him up. He won at Healesville because we were going for Horse of the Year, and he'd only started racing up in the hills, and he for the season, and we got beat. It had to come all the way to the very last race in a horse called Queen of Georgia or Queen of Georgia, I think it was called. Leonie Larson had her. Beat us at Colac was the final race for the season, and that beat us by about a half length. And he would have had 8 wins for the season, but he only had about probably 8 goes at it, I guess, 8 or 9 goes. So it was a pretty good run.
That's a pretty magic effort.
Yeah, he was a grand old boy. Yeah, he passed away about 6 years ago. He was a grand old boy.
Yeah. So what are some of the other picnic tracks that you now don't race at that we, have shut down and would no longer get the privilege of riding on? Colac's one of them.
Yeah, Colac. Well, Yarra Glen used to always run picnic meetings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he used to have hunt club meetings there. Yeah. Mick Kent and those guys had a couple of rides over the jumps and that when they were riding as picnic riders at Yarra Glen. Pakenham, obviously. They used to race at the old picnic track there. But the old brain trying to think now, where else? Don't really know. We just always had Corinthians at Cranbourne and Yarra Glen, Matoa, Stall, Coleraine. All the Western districts used to have Corinthians back then when we rode against the pros. They were full cab meetings. We'd ride against the pros, and we used to always campaign with them because we would always head up there and race during the winter time when the cows were out. So when we weren't milking, but yeah, that was. And then I'd go to New South and ride as well. So when our picnic season's shut down here, I would go to New South Wales and ride from the end of April through to June. I'd do 3 months up there, and I had a lot of success up there. I won the Wagga Cup and Holbrook Cups, Corowa Cup. don't think I won the Cootamundra Cup, but we raced all around those areas as well. Used to take team of
Apart from
horses
the
up.
obvious of going around the other way, they race backwards up there, obviously, to us.
Yep,
What are some of the other big differences that you notice going over the border?
No real differences, I don't think. Yeah, the people were fantastic because I used to stay up there for 3 months when I was a kid. Went up back in the late 70s, started to ride for a chap. He's well and truly passed on now, Carl Hegney. He was a very big owner trainer up there, president of the Holbrook Race Club. We all won the Warrior Cup before. Massive punter. He showed me, I won it in 84 on Killian Girl, and he showed me the paddock he retired in that he bought from his punting when I won the cup. So the slings were always very nice. Even though we weren't supposed to get paid back then, that was you couldn't survive if you didn't, that's for certain. So yeah.
Any financial benefits always handy?
Always handy, yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Fond memories by the sounds of it too. So
they were great. Yeah, great trips. And like only probably that was as far as I went. I didn't ever get to go to Cairns and those places where Razor and them used to go up there. I got invited to go, but I couldn't go. We had to milk cows, they had the cows calving and stuff, so I had to come home to the farm. But that's what I would have loved to have ridden up there. They were massive prize monies back then in the day. So yeah, we should have went for a trip up that way, but unfortunately didn't. A bit late now. So
fair enough. So fill us in on a bit more info. Who else have you got? The family, obviously. Dad trained. Is anyone else coming through behind you?
No, we haven't got any children. There's only Lisa and I. So and no, haven't got any nephews or nieces that are coming through. So we probably the end of an era for us when I give it up. So but yeah, hopefully we're around for a bit longer and keep it going for a little bit longer.
Hope so, because Petey Tate was your adopted daughter as such, as we all know, and she rode for you for a number of years as well.
Yep. Yeah, she rode her first winner for us at Balnarring when she was 16. She had her first race ride there for Ian Hutchins. And she used to work for Hutch at Sale as well, and had a ride for him that day. And she rode her first winner on Californian Dream there. That was a bit funny because we walked the track. It was raining that day. We walked the track and we got round to near the 600, and there was a fire truck parked near the 600 metres. I said, now when you get to there, I said, just start riding it, Pete, and off you go. I said, anyway, why are they going the race? They moved the fire truck, didn't they? Anyway, Pete still won. She still won, so that was lovely. But yeah, so Pete rode for us for many, many years, and still, like as you said, like a stepdaughter, and lovely. And Lisa Andrews likewise.
Lisa was another great girl that we had round for ages with her. She was fantastic value.
Yes. And a good little rider as well, and a little bit too light. But anyhow, she when they got over 67 kilos, she wasn't allowed to ride them because she only weighed about 40 kilos. So she'd have.
I was going to say there was nothing of Lisa. She was a whip of a thing, and lovely girl and very entertaining to have around because she was always looking for lead and bigger saddles. Christ knows
we had
what.
two. She used to have my big saddle and 2 lead bags, but 25 kilos of dead weight all the time. And whenever Captain Cosmic, whenever he got 67, I'd have to ride him. But I think she had 8 winners, rode 8 winners on him, and so did I. So we split the difference there, which was quite good. But yeah, so they were great days.
Absolutely. So what else have you noticed with Picnic's racing over the years? Like obviously we now get prize money and paid for our feats, which is always nice. Previously you guys used to race for trophies and pride.
Yes, and it was always unofficially we were never allowed to accept money because we were amateur riders, but like even the cost of petrol, you had to get something, and you weren't even really supposed to get anything for petrol. But everyone, like a lot of the stewards were ex-riders, they knew what went on. Of course you got something, and it was
let's be honest, we didn't knock it back when it came to us.
No, and that's why I still sling today if they get a winner, but it's my punting days are nearly over with that was how we made our money years ago. You had to punt, and when I was training and that, you would have a fair punt on one, and that's how you bought a new car or whatever. That was when you talk to the young ones now, and like I remember one day at Yay we got beat, had $1,000 on it, $9, and they were still taking money, and it was we got rolled. The horse beat us by about 3 inches, I guess it was, and horse called Brewery went on 1-6 on the trot after that, but it was 15 lengths back to the third horse, so we nearly
no.
right.
So have you got any of the reverse? Have you got any good plunge stories that you can tell us?
Yeah, we've had a few good ones. That when the Corinthian at Stawell was a pretty good one when I won that one. It wasn't us. Someone took 30,000 out of the ring, but that wasn't us. They thought it was us. We had a nice day, but it wasn't 30 grand. I usually only tell the stories when I lose my money because no one thinks you're skiting then, Dan. So, and I never collect my bets, but I always send someone else. And we won a race. Petey won a race on Leclerc at Druin one day, and I won 1,000 on him. And anyway, my sister-in-law Sally, who helps, she straps at the races and that for us all the time with Lisa's mum Heather and Andrews, and Sal went to collect my ticket off the bookie, and he said, "Where'd you get the ticket from?" She said, "I was my brother-in-law's Reggie's." Oh, that's okay. He knew who the ticket was, so that was So, even now, like,
look it out for you.
Yeah, and I've got to be careful these days because, a few years back there, I'd walk through the bet ring, and you'd put your fingers up 5 like that, and they would say, because plenty of times that used to be 500, but I meant 50 these days, not 500. So you can buy the horse for 500. But the days you don't have to punt anymore. Like they're 2,300 to the winner, so it's fine. But back in the day, like when I was having, you'd have 500 on one or more. The race is worth like $30 to the winner. So
and that was only in silverware.
Yes, yep. Get a decanter or something. Yes, they can't eat that. So
No.
I won't name them, but I remember one day I just said, they valued the trophy at X amount. I said, well, can I donate it back? And you can have it, and I'll take what it's valued at, because I said I can't feed this to the horse, and it's that's the way it was, and they were doing it quite tough when we first bought the farm. That when we were first married, and you had to have money coming in and to pay the bills. So you couldn't pay the bills with a camera or a glass. It didn't work. So, but anyhow, those days are well behind us now. But it's nice, and especially for the riders, because you've got to replace your gear, as you would well know, and the fuel, like the price of getting to the races and that. That was
diesel these days is a couple of bucks a litre.
Yes.
And look, I'm based at Cranbourne, you're at Sale. You've got a long way to go most of the time, and you guys are actually out from Sale, so it's a little bit further. But I do remember when I first started driving to Buchan, Omeo and Swiss Creek, and going up for 1 or 2 rides. And fortunately for me, I was riding for Bobby Triplow, and Bobby would always give me a little bit of cash for coming up. But it's a long way when you're not actually required to get paid by anybody for it.
Yes, yeah. And that's another thing, Dan. Like, we take all my good old horses, and the ones I've got now, like, for us to go to Mansfield's 5.25 hours. So the horses are on the track 5.5 hours. So it's 11 hours out of the day they're on the truck. And they were doing that week out especially when I was riding. So they did a massive job, and they race every week. Every week they go around those old horses, and sound as a bell. I've only ever had one horse break down on me. Poor old Jaws of Life. He won the Omeo Cup for me. And
I remember Jawsy. He was a ripper.
Yeah. He's still in the paddock. He's still in the paddock at the minute, fat as a fool. But I'll show you a photo on Saturday of him. And he's with old Shanghai Rooster in the paddock.
Yeah.
But,
I never forget early in the piece, because Rooster's the really, really big one for anybody who doesn't know Rooster, and he's a little bit quirky. And I reckon he had his first start at Hillsville or something like that, and watching him get round that tight corner was almost entertaining. I can't remember whether it was Petey or Matty Corbazero that rode him, but by Jesus Christ, it was an effort to get him around that turn.
Yeah. No, actually, once you knew him, he was probably one of the best horses I had for him because he used to go around Buchan and places like that. Like, absolutely perfect. You just couldn't touch his mouth. Just leave him alone and he was fine. He would look after himself. So, yeah, him and old Guadalcanal, I don't know how many times they finished within, like, ahead of one another. The three of them, Phantom Flight, they trifected at Heels one day, and that would have had to have been 15 times at least. They either finished first or second and first, the other way around. I should look it up one day and have a look and count them up because it's a massive. And even when they run fifth or sixth, there's only a head in it. It was that was a little while ago. I had a good bet on both of them at Healesville, and I thought they won't miss a place. And I've gone back in. A chap owed me $500 he gave it, so I went and put that on them both as well. And they didn't miss a place. They run fifth and sixth, I think. So that was still a place. But Razor told me afterwards that the track was no good over down the backside, and neither of those horses would handle soft going. So unfortunately, we done our money. But I was ill at the time and on medication and wasn't thinking too straight. So I had an operation and stuff and wasn't going too well. And we but they both come out and one won at Stony Creek and one won at Bensdale. Their very next start at $4. So yeah.
You didn't necessarily have to worry about eating baked beans for long then.
No, we were quite happy when they won next start, but that was just a bit foolish on my part that I didn't ask anyone about the track. So yeah.
Sorry, guys, we've just got 2 minutes left. I'm really sorry. We're going to get timed out.
That's fine.
Just very quickly, we'll go through the Jockeys Premiership. Sean Cooper's on 8, Melinda McDonald's on 8, Jack Vagona's on 7, and Trainers Premiership, Troy Kilgour 7, Don Dwyer 4, Tony Carter-Smith 4. It didn't really change much in the last weekend, did it, Danny? It's pretty well still close.
Hasn't. Everybody's still close. It's still a very, very spread out event, and everybody's still really having a crack and struggling to get rides and winners. So yeah, well, not struggling, but it's tight, it's fierce, and everybody's got their loyal supporters. So it's going to be an interesting season this year.
All right, Reggie, as you know, every week when you watch the show, our good friend Chris drops in at the end.
Yes.
He wants to know, he wants to come and be a stable hand for you. Have you got any work for him?
Plenty of work, no pay though.
No pay. And just to let you know, mate, you probably want to come in the house, like he wanders around in here. Just keep him away from Lisa, mate. All right,
she'll put him to work as well.
There's no rest in the Manning house or that at all. Reggie, what's your best one for the weekend, mate?
Possibly anything but in the cup, I reckon. He would have to give it a shake. And old Razor McCong Fortune will have to go fairly well with Razor back on him, even though nothing again. He was always supposed to ride him. He had to work last weekend. That's why Dylan rode him, but he would have to go well. He's working well, but yeah, they're the two best ones.
All right. We're going to run out of time. Thank you very much, Reggie. Absolute honour to have you on, mate. We'll see you around the tracks. Thank you as always, Danny. Good luck to everybody on the weekend. And
good luck, Reggie. Good luck, everyone. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Picnic Bet.
Thank you, Picnic Bet. See you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.